Namaste, my friend. Welcome to Bhakti Yoga Conference, Grace in an Age of Distraction. My name is Happy Jack, the founder of Happy Jack Yoga and a Master of Divinity student here at Harvard. And this is our daily, sometimes twice daily, today is twice daily, conversation where we come together with beautiful souls on the path of bhakti, people from all walks of life. We have monks, scholars, yogis, thought leaders, musicians, scientists, and people who are really living it and taking these ancient Vedic teachings and making them relevant for us today. So very inspired to have you here with us. We got a beautiful soul joining us today. And as of this moment, we've got over 3,900 registrations. It just keeps growing. So thank you for sharing and spreading the word, and especially those who join us here live. This will be an interactive session, so please be ready, be on the edge of your seat. If you're on video, more likely that we're going to call on you. So maybe some of you now are going to stay off video, but please come on video so we can engage with you. I'm going to bring our dear esteemed speaker on while we say a few words. Please welcome to the screen Jiva G. Jiva Gwen Hammond was born and raised in New York City and now lives in Germany. Clean and sober for 35 years. She's been a Bhakti yogi for the past 8 years. She founded the Bhakti Recovery Group and the newly established Jagai Madai Foundation, building a worldwide community of over 200 people with more than 18 online meetings per week. Through retreats and workshops and outreach, she integrates 12-step recovery with bhakti wisdom, offering spiritual and emotional healing to those in need. We're so honored to have you here with us. And just saying a few words myself, personally, I was instantly attracted because, we're on the bhakti path together. I'm 16 years sober, so I'm following your footsteps, getting there, one day at a time. And I attended a workshop with you last year, Jiva. And again, even though I'm sober and I know I'll never go back to that old path again, you really spoke so openly how this path, this bhakti recovery, it's not just for alcoholics or drug addicts, but for many different addictions, many different tendencies that are not serving us, and anarthas. And you'll probably share more about that word because not everybody knows that Sanskrit word. But the workshop was super inspiring. I loved it. We got to spend a day together. We also were together at Govardhan Eco Village in India in January. You're doing amazing things. We're very inspired to have you here with us. The title of today's session is Bhakti 12-Step Recovery, Living with and Recovering from Addictions, Anarthas, and Associated Behaviors. My friends, if you are ready to get started with Jiva G, throw your arms in the air and loudly chant, Haribo!
Haribo! Okay, thank you. That was such a sweet introduction. Thank you, Jack. And thank you all for coming. I'm so happy you're here. Just wanted to make it clear, 35 years in the program, 28, I think maybe I didn't make that clear. 35 years in the program, 28 years clean and sober. Just to, we're counting. I'm counting. So yeah, just to make that clear. I struggled for about 8 years before I can get clean and sober. It was, yeah, so.
Well,
Hello.
Thank you for sharing, and thank you for being here with us. I love, we've attracted others. I won't start calling out their name, but others who are also on the path of recovery. And I'm excited for you to share more about it because there's, of course, many people here who weren't in the space that we were, Jiva, we were alcoholics. But before we get to that, can you share a little bit what brought you to your spiritual path? How did you end up in bhakti? How did you end up on a spiritual path? Let us get to know you before we jump into this great wisdom.
I was beaten into submission.
Yeah.
I don't think that I changed because I saw the light. In the program, we say, like, I didn't change because I saw the light. I changed because I felt the heat. And I have to say that that's what really opened the door for me. I'd been in the program for almost 20 years, 19 years. And at that point, and at around the 17-year mark, I started to hit a depression, hit a ceiling in my recovery. I had a very general idea about God, and I was very God oriented. And spiritually oriented, and I followed, the AA program, and I did a little prayers to here and to there and to the universe and all of this stuff. But I really needed to go deeper. I had a big ceiling, and it wasn't just about the alcoholism and the addiction. I hit a ceiling. I hit a bottom, actually, with codependency. And that came with knowing that I had to separate from my husband. And he wasn't a bad person. We were both recovering addicts and both heavily codependent, and both came from seriously dysfunctional families. We both had a program, but we couldn't really grow when we were around each other. We didn't have that. It wasn't, we just couldn't manage. So I knew that I had to do something, or else I was going to commit suicide, actually. It was so bad. I knew I had to change. I knew that there was no other way for me but to go deeper into God, or I would go deeper into materialism and misery and depression and all of that stuff. So, while maybe some people, you said this too, Jack, like some of us here maybe not understand what that is. And I appreciate that people appreciate, the appreciation that we get, people in recovery, like, wow, I'm so proud of you. You've done such a great job. But it's like, I just ran out of a burning building. That's all I did. There's nothing to applaud. It's just like, I was just running for my damn life. And I'm not sure if that was something to applaud, and staying in this process was only through the mercy of Krishna for me, only the mercy of God. It wasn't me. It was the program. It was the people in recovery. And then later it became the devotees and Krishna and the Gita and all of the Vedic wisdom that I've tried to remember and attain through the years. Wow, that was a long answer.
No, that's beautiful. Thank you for, I just love how right away you're so open and honest and vulnerable. And that, that just shows your humanity. And I see people nodding their heads who have been on similar paths. And maybe could you share a bit more? What was it about bhakti? Because, for those, there's some who've been in 12 step, and it's about finding a higher power that connects for you, whether it's God or Jesus or Muhammad or Buddha or, Mother Earth, some higher power. What was it about bhakti in particular that felt like, this is, because now, your partner is like a very committed bhakti practitioner. You're like very much
He's like a monk. I'm like I brought him here. Now he shames me.
Yeah. So why bhakti?
Why bhakti? Well, because I think bhakti, well, first of all, when I started to go down this path, I was taking a yoga teacher training with the Shivananda discipline, the Shivananda Sampradaya. And there's a really famous school here in Germany called Yoga Vidya. And it's a very serious hatha yoga school. And you get to study all yogas it's a two-year training, very intense. And it's like the last thing they do is asana. It's like everything else. You have to learn Sanskrit. You have to learn the Gita. You have to learn, all the yogas. You have to learn, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga. You have to learn all of yoga. So I took to Bhakti immediately. And before that, I was still in contact with Kastuba. I don't know if anybody knows here, but I'm childhood friends with Kastuba and also Raghu, and we all come from the hardcore scene in New York. And I've been familiar with devotee forever. Like, since the very first Gita I got was at 13. I was in front of CBGB's at some hardcore matinee, and someone just gave me a Gita, and we were talking about it. And I had no idea what I had in my hand, and I wound up, I think I tore the pictures out and put them on my wall because I thought the pictures were so cool, but I had no idea what that was. So bhakti really made sense to me. It made sense to me because bhakti, it's not just first of all, it's not, it's very bona fide and it's very deep. And it's not just some weird idea about God. It's very specific and it's very hands-on and it's tangible. And that's what I need. I'm a 12-step practical kind of person. I love to go into the esoterics. And when I do go into the esoterics, I'll float away into the ether and then I'm gone. But I need something to keep me on the ground. And I do very well with footwork. I do very well. I'm a soldier. I do very well with like, this is what we got to do. And I grapple, with the discipline. I grapple with that. But if it's not tangible for me, it's not incredibly spiritual for me. It has to be tangible. It has to be in my hands and feet. I have to feel it. I have to do it. It has to be action behind it. So that's why Bhakti. And then that was the very first thing. And it just made sense. Just made sense. Everything that I read, when I read the Gita and when it was explained to me in the way that it was through a Gaudiya Vaishnav, the Shivananda discipline, their whole sampradaya tried to explain it to me. I still didn't get it. They did not explain it to me in a way that I could process. But when Kastuba explained it to me, it was just so simple. Mm-hmm. So I took to it because it was like it was like a fishy being put back in the water.
That's beautiful. I love it. It really is about finding someone who can present the message, present the teachings in a way that connect with us, right? Like it's about finding a teacher that we resonate with, and I'll just make the connection because not everybody knows Raghu and Kastuba. So Raghunath, we heard a week or two ago. Kastuba is tomorrow, so he's our guest.
Oh
tomorrow.
Yeah, that's right.
So yes. This person that Jiva is referring to, that we'll get to meet him tomorrow. Beautiful. Well, maybe, there's so many questions that we could ask Jiva, but maybe if we turn it to you, you've got some things planned to share with regards to Bhakti. Do you want to, I'll hand it over to you, but we're ready here to engage and take shares. We're all yours.
Absolutely. Great. I'll just kind of take off where we left off and what it did for me and how, my whole spiritual journey led to where I am now and how many extremely incredible and important lessons that I've accumulated on the way. When I decided to get a divorce from my husband, I was hurting. I was hurting a lot because I had given my will and my life over to the care of my husband as he understood himself, which is not what we're supposed to do. And I really thought that maybe he would be the one to kind of show me how to live life on life's terms, because I came really from the gutter. I was like a gutter rat. I wasn't just some like high bottom. I was really low bottom. And he was kind of high bottom, different bottom, and was well versed in living a material life. And I just didn't know how to do that. So I just sort of followed him. And through that whole time, I was always very, when I got clean and sober, and I have to talk about this because this is like the very first God consciousness that I've ever experienced, and the second like real realization of God consciousness was in Bhakti, and they both were very, very exactly the same, actually, exactly the same. When I realized that my life, I had used and used until I had nothing left. I was homeless. My life had become so unmanageable that there was just nothing that I could do any different. When I reached out on that day, I knew that it was over. There was a day when I hit a bottom and I knew that it was over. I really knew something had to change. And the funny thing is, it was as if the hand of God came in and just sort of put that thought into my head and heart. And it wasn't my thought. It was almost if like I opened my mouth and the words, "I can't do this anymore," just came out of my mouth. There was just no, I couldn't, how do you say it in English? I couldn't clarify where that came from. this feeling, this voice. So I got into a 12-step program, which is a process of surrender, exactly like in the Gita. So when we're talking about Gita, we're really talking about a conversation between Krishna and Arjuna, and the process of which, on a battlefield, and the process of which Arjuna is talking to Krishna, and his process of surrender to Krishna, and going through all of the things, going through, he starts, on the battlefield in the second chapter, when he's just like, I can't do this anymore. He's fighting against all of his conditions. He cannot anymore. Arjuna cannot go against all the things, the conditionings in his life. His family is there. He has to fight his family. He has to fight his uncles, his cousins, his grandparents. Everybody on that battlefield are people that he respects and loves, also who have betrayed him. So through all of these conditionings, he's trying to get his mind around what he has to do, which is his dharmic duty. And Krishna keeps telling him, this is what you have to do. And it's all about, the whole Gita is about that process of letting go of the attachments, understanding that we are not the knower and the seer and the doer. And for me, when I read the Gita through that lens, and I was explained to me in a very similar lens as that, I saw that this as being the perfect 12-step process. You get to your knees. Step one is we come in the Bhakti recovery group is step one. We come to believe, we admit we're powerless over our addictions, anarthas, and associated behaviors. Those who don't know what anarthas are, those are just bad habits continual bad habits, bad behaviors, and that our lives had become unmanageable. So this is what, and our attachments, and this is, the program won't work. And even our connection with Krishna has to start with us saying, no, I am not you. When it says I'm powerless, it doesn't mean I'm helpless. It means I'm powerless. There are plenty of powers out there that I can't change. Try to, get me in front of a tsunami. I can't change that tsunami. It's going to come. But if I know it's coming, I can get out of the way. That makes me not helpless. So admitting powerlessness does not mean that we're helpless. And although we do feel we're helpless, because sometimes we can't get over those things, and we're so conditioned and so bogged down with all of our conditioning and all of our, we say in the program, disease, So those two, that first step in a bhakti practice and in an addiction practice was the most essential, because without that step, I couldn't sincerely do the following steps. And step two is we come to believe that Krishna, a power greater than ourselves, can restore us to sanity. And what does that mean? That means, okay, we're running out of a burning building, right? We admit we're powerless. Our lives have become unmanageable. Whether that unmanageability looks like something on the outside or on the inside, I don't know anyone who has a complete, perfect, clean, manageable inside life. If you do, you can call me anytime and tell me how you do it. I would love to know. So let me know how that works for you. I would love to apply that in my life. And then the second step is we come to believe that, okay, now we're admitted we are powerless. What do we do now? Well, we have faith. There's a power greater than ourselves, Krishna. Yes, there's a power greater than ourselves. And no, it's not me. That's all I got to know really at first. It's not me. I'm not the power greater than myself. Krishna is the power greater than myself. And I have to have faith that power can and will restore me to healthy thinking. For me, it's sanity, because I was insane, and I am insane. I've got a restless mind. I've got up here. It's like, I don't even know. It's Looney Tunes, freaking Tom and Jerry, sound effects, cartoons in the background, music. I mean, everything's going on up there, and I'm trying to concentrate on my Krishna consciousness, concentrate on my stuff. I've got a restless mind. And the third step is that we make a conscious decision. And I put the word conscious decision in the Bhakti recovery group, because if we don't make to turn our will and our lives over to the care of Krishna as we understand Krishna. When we make a conscious decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of Krishna, that is a huge, huge, huge. This is like it's almost insurmountable to think that we're going to give our lives, our will and our lives over to the care of Krishna every day, every second, every day. Is that what we mean? Yes, that's what we mean. Every second of every day for the rest of our lives, one day at a time. One moment at a time, one situation at a time. And that's the one thing that I have to tell myself as well as other people when they ask. If I can't fathom of what it's like to turn my will and my life over to the care of Krishna, then I can for sure give a situation over to Krishna, or a problem I have over to Krishna, or, anything, any little thing. It says so in the Gita. Offer me a leaf, water, any little teeny thing, and he'll take it. Krishna will take anything you give. And, and it's the same. When Arjuna was fighting against that, he was fighting to really have faith that Krishna knows what's best. First of all, to have Krishna return him to sanity, to sane thinking, to knowing that this is his dharma and this is what needs to be done. And in the third step, he makes a decision to turn his will and his life over to the care of Krishna. This was the whole process of the Gita. The whole process of the Gita. It's like, so when we get those first three steps, and I just want to talk a little bit now about those first three steps, because that'll be the very foundation. That's the very foundation of my bhakti practice, and it's the very foundation of my 12-step practice. And I can only say that those two are inseparable for me. My bhakti is my 12 steps, and my 12 steps is my bhakti. There is no separating that. It's not like I do an AA program over here and I do a bhakti thing over here. I can't do that anymore. It doesn't work for me. They are just so immersed in each other. There's no way that I can separate it. There's no separating my spiritual lives. So, So the thing is, there are a lot of teachers who can teach us about what's happening in the Gita. A lot of people can tell us all the stories, in the Krishna book, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, and all of these vast literatures that we have, and we can talk about all of the esoterics and all of the truths and all of the facts. But for me, if it's not experiential, then I'm not going to get it. I have to experience. So I have to personalize it because I'm still attached. I'm still attached. I'm still attached to my own feelings, to my own emotions. I'm still attached to this stupid meat puppet that I am. Leslie's going to love that one, right? Leslie loves that one. Yes, the stupid meat puppet. But it works for me. This is how it works. It's like, I want to give my will and my life over to the care of God. And I get in the way all the time. Every day that I say, I'm making a decision to turn my will and my life over to Krishna. I'm turning my will and my life over to you. I will turn around and 3 seconds later, forgot what I said and start controlling stuff again. And this is something that is essential for bhakti. It's essential it's essential that we, through the help of God and the mercy and the grace of God, are able to have Krishna remove these things in our way. But we have to be willing. So now the fourth and the fifth step in a program. First of all, does anyone have any questions about that? I don't want to just talk blah, 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 blah. Let's pause for a second. Jack, do you have a question, or does anyone have any comment or question about this? Because that's real essential stuff here.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jiva. Beautiful, kind of setting the foundation. There is a question. Dr. Mishra, are you able to come on video so we can bring you on and spotlight you? I see. There you are. Prabhu, welcome. Where are you calling in from? Can you hear us, Dr. Mishra?
Yes.
Yeah, where are you calling in from, Prabhu?
Thank you. We are from Connecticut, close to New York.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you had a reflection. Please share.
Thank you. Thank you so much for allowing me to share my experience with the association from senior devotees here. As per your question, I just wanted to add one thing, that the word bhakti is bhakti applies only for Vishnu Tattva. The meaning only is to serve Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is our eternal ultimate Father, Krishna or Vishnu or Ram, Nrsimha, Maman, Bara. It doesn't apply to any messengers or any preachers or any gurus. It applies only to Krishna, our Father, real Father. The second thing is that in Bhagavatam 4.31.14, so Canto 4, chapter 31, verse number 14, where Naradji says that like we pour water on the root of a tree, and that energizes the trunk, branches, twig, and everything else. Similarly, as we supplying the food to stomach, enliven the senses and limbs of the body, simply by worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan Krishna, through devotional service, like it has been discussed now, automatically satisfies everyone, including ourselves. So
Beautiful.
it's not like we are serving God. It's like we are connecting Krishna, who is reservoir of pleasure, and then we are getting pleasure from him. So in the material world, we are searching pleasure somewhere else, in money, in land, in power, in
Yes,
families.
that's what all the 12-step stuff is about.
Thank you
Exactly
so
that.
much.
That's what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're trying to kind of, recover
Yeah.
from those kind of material sense enjoyments so
Yeah.
that we can get closer to Krishna. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you,
Thank you
Dr.
so much.
Mishra. We're
Yeah.
sending our love, appreciation, high vibes over to Connecticut.
Thank you so much. Yeah, same
Nice.
from.
Thank
Hi,
you for
Krishna.
sharing. Hare Krishna. Beautiful. I guess, could you say just a little bit, it's beautiful. You're starting to take us through the steps. And I guess I'm mindful. Those that I know are in recovery or familiar with recovery, I'm seeing like, yeah, the head's nodding and the notes, and it's beautiful. Can you just say maybe a little bit more about, for those who not so familiar with the 12-step process, or never even considered, like how could a 12-step program or a Bhakti recovery group program help me, help us maybe who haven't been down that path?
What a great question, Jack. Thank you, because this has been sort of a question that I haven't written out and put on the website yet. So the thing is, I know, and everyone does know, that no matter what it is, where it says addictions, Anartha's addictions and associated behaviors. So I think every person, I'm not going to assume, but I'm assuming that I am going to assume. I am going to assume that most people have some sort of behavior that they recognize as getting in the way of their relationship with God, whether it's getting seconds in prasad, whether it's a continual behavior that we do even though we know it's not good for us. The things that get in the way of our functioning, whether it's a small thing or a big thing. It could be, like I said, it could be your compulsion to overeat, the compulsion to watch too much, stuff on the internet. It's a compulsion, things that a compulsive behavior, a habit, an anartha that gets in the way of Krishna consciousness. It's just that simple. And the 12 steps can be applied to any of those things, any of them, as the Gita can. But the Gita, for me, as somebody who's not, I'm not a jnana yogi. I can't learn that way. I learn through the hard stuff. I learn through actual experience.
Mhm.
It brings it into that lens. And so the Gita, like I said, like we can have all these teachings. We can teach about all of these things. We can learn about all of these things. We can learn, for example, we can learn that chanting 16 rounds a day is the connection to God. That's the connection to Krishna. That is the most essential one in the Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition. However, I personally have not experienced any kind of bliss in that way that's described. I do it anyway because it's my prescribed duty. But I don't have the experience. So I know that I learn through experience, and I want more through experience. Just being taught has its limits for me, for myself. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. And now, as we continue to listen forward, in the remaining of the 12 steps, should we be listening? I also want to like experience this and apply this. So are we hearing these steps as like, oh, this is information that I consider, or is this something, actually these 12 steps are something that every one of us should be finding a way to integrate in our lives?
Jack, what an amazing question. I've never been asked that question. That's why you're so brilliant. Yeah, apply this to your life. Think about how this can be applied to anything unwanted in your lives. Reflect that upon yourself. Reflect whether it's drinking, whether it's drugs, whether it's TV, whether it's scrolling, whether it's sex, whether it's whatever it is, whether it's pornography, whatever it is, because it's all out there. And we all have our stuff, whatever it is, whether it's multiple partners, whether it's freaking ice cream. I don't know what it is. But whatever it is, try to reflect and see how that can help you in your life. Because talking from someone who's talking about heroin addiction, I don't think most people here know what it's like to be strung out in some, and have like 18 overdoses and like do the emergency room world tour. I don't know if everybody has had that experience. So, but I'm pretty sure people have had experience with depression. I've had, anxiety, have had experiences with all kinds of things, no matter what it is, codependency, being from a dysfunctional family, trying to work out things in a healthy way, trying to figure it out. And I think the 12 steps are very tangible, helpful tools.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Beautiful. I love this. Is so good. And also, I just want to kind of bring us back to, say we have about 15 minutes or so to give us the whole 12-step framework. And then, because I'm sure we'll have more questions and shares. Please continue. Beautiful.
Okay. You want to give me so you give me 3 minutes before I should stop so that we can just do this?
Yeah, gotcha.
Before we should stop okay, that would be great. Okay, so jumping right in. The 4th step, we make a fearless and moral inventory, searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. This is really essential because now that we've admitted we were powerless, we've come to believe there's a power greater than ourselves that can restore us to sanity. In the 3rd step, we've made a conscious decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of Krishna. Now we want to clear the wreckage of our past, because now we're starting on a new foot. We got a new start. We're powerless. We know it. We have faith. And now we're giving our will and our lives over to the care of God. In order for us to go further, we have to clear the wreckage of our past. When we do this searching fearless and moral inventory of ourselves, it's basically a list of all of the things, all of our resentments. In AA, they do a lot of resentments, the things that we've done maybe to other people, and that comes on the 8th step. But all those resentments, all of the things, and I'm not going to go too deep into it now because it's really just about going through the steps. And then when we do this list, we make this list, there are also charts. You can get like printed out papers that'll ask you those questions. So then we take, in the 5th step, that we take this 4th step and we share it with ourselves, God, and another human being. And we share the exact nature of those wrongs. We share the exact nature of those wrongs, not the wrongs themselves, the nature of them. And what does that mean? Most of the nature of our wrongs are very, very rooted in fear and deep sadness. And those are the things like hurt people. And when we get to the nature of those things, we'll understand that when we're in that fear, and we'll understand that we can go back to the first step and work the steps through any fear that we have, any anxiety that we have, anything that comes up there. So, and there's something very powerful about sharing that with another human being and God and yourself. You're saying it out loud, for some of you for the very first time. You're saying the secrets, all the secrets that you've kept, all those bitter things that you have in your heart, all of that sludge that you have in your heart. You have taken it and you've exposed it to the light. And you're sharing this in front of God, which is powerful. In front of another human being, that's humiliating. Teaches you being a little humble and yourself. So after we've done that, we go into the 6th and 7th. I'm going to put those into one category because 6 and 7 are really important. The 6 is we become willing to have Krishna remove these defects of character. We become willing because often we're not willing. Often there's a lot of things that we hold on to. I'm not willing sometimes to, I don't know, the most simplest thing I am now, but I used to not be willing to get rid of road rage. I knew that like, oh my God, like I'm such a good girl now. I don't do anything. Why can't I just like yell at someone in my car? You know, like just want to curse at them and yell at them. And it was fun, you know, but it's, you know, these are the things that I have to be willing to let go of them. If I'm not willing to let go, and if we look very closely, a lot of things we're attached. We're attached to negative things too. So we have to be willing. And in the 7th step, we ask Krishna to remove them. We ask them, when we're willing, we ask him to remove our shortcomings. Why do we ask Krishna to remove our shortcomings? Because we can't. Because if we could have a long time ago, but we didn't. It's the mercy of Krishna that's going to remove that from us, not me. I can't remove a character defect with a character defect. I can't remove my dumb thinking with my dumb thinking. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't make any sense. I have to have mercy from Krishna to do that for me. So after we've done that, and you know, these are like the big lists, the one and done lists. But the process of recovery and the process of becoming a Krishna devotee is never a one and done. It is a daily process. But this is supposed to get rid of the mother load of things when you work those steps at first. So when we get into the 8th step, we make a list of all persons we had harmed and we became willing to make amends to them all. That means pretty much everyone who's on your 4th step will probably be on your 8th step. The ones who you have a resentment with. And when we do that, we have to become willing just like in the 6th step. We have to be willing to make amends to them. We make that list. We ask our sponsors, that's someone who we work with in our program. We work with people who have experience. And we show them that list. And they say, okay, then you make direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. That means if we slept with someone's partner and they're still together, we're not going to go say, I'm sorry, I slept with your partner. That's going to hurt somebody. We don't do that. We got to carry that. You stole money from someone dying of cancer, they're dead already. Well, you got to go and give some money and donate it to the Cancer Society. It's not a sorry, it's an amends. It's a living amends. You weren't a good mom, be a good mom today. You weren't a good daughter, be a good daughter today. You're not a good son, be a good son today. You're not a good dad, be a good man today. That's amends. So the 10th step is sort of the dusting of the house, because in the 4th step, we went and we did our moral inventory, searching and fearless. Now we take a daily inventory, and when we're wrong, we promptly admitted it in the 10th step. So we're just dusting the house that we've already cleaned and just keeping an eye on ourselves. Have we done wrong today? Are we slipping up? Do we have any resentments? Do we have anything that needs to be looked at? We want to keep our house clean, keep our side of the street clean. 11th step. We sought through prayer, meditation, and the chanting of the holy names to improve our conscious contact with Krishna as we understand him, praying only for knowledge of Krishna's will for us and the power to carry that out. We are seeking connection with God. We are seeking connection with Krishna. It says, actually, at the end of the Gita in 18, 58 till 66, in that area, it's all about completely fixating your mind on Krishna. Completely fixating our mind on Krishna. And when we do that in the 11th step, and when we are able to do that, we don't have time for the other mess that we have in our head, Tom and Jerry and Bugs Bunny and Roadrunner and all that stuff in our head. We don't have time for that anymore. We're concentrated. We're concentrated on Krishna and his will for us and the power to carry that out. Now, chanting of the holy names, people can do that very well. I am not good at that. I do it in different ways. I have my quiet meditations as well. I have my service work, which we come to the 12th step, which is the last step. The last step is having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps. We tried to carry this message to others who are still suffering, and we carry these principles, and we practice these principles in all of our affairs. That means when we're at a meeting, when we're practicing 12-step work, we're not just doing it at a meeting. We're doing it in everything, just like bhakti. We're doing it in everything. We are applying everything that we learned in the Bhagavad Gita, everything we've learned in the 12 steps. We're applying it. We learn from Arjuna what Arjuna was doing in surrendering to Krishna, and how he gave his life over to Krishna, and how all these great sages through all of our teachings in the Vedas have given their will and their lives over to the care of Krishna. And that's what we want to mimic. I want my life like that. Because when I don't, I'm in here with you guys talking about all of this stuff. My disease and Maya is right outside the door doing push-ups, just waiting for me. Just waiting for me. I've got a disease. Everyone has a disease. Every one of us has some sort of disease. We've got that voice in our head, that compulsive behavior, whatever it is, that's waiting for us just to be unguarded at some point. I want my second nature to be immersed in Krishna consciousness. That's what I want my second nature to be. I want it to be my first nature. So yeah, so that's that. Those are the 12 steps. And when we practice these, when you're done with the 12th, go back to the first, guaranteed. Because you're going to need it for something else. And it goes on and on and on. And the path is the goal. The path is the goal. Practice is the goal. I'm not trying to get, Bhakti Yoga here. I mean, it'd be great, but I just want to follow this path, and I want to be close to Krishna. That's all I want. There's nothing else that I want. Because the alternative for me, it doesn't look good. It's not a good look. So, yeah, that's it. Happy Jack. Come back up here, man. You're all the way down on the bottom of that little screen. Come up with me, please.
I gotcha. Oh my goodness, Jiva. Thank you so much. Like, again, just love your vulnerability and your honesty, and it's refreshing. It's very, again, it becomes very relatable, and I really see so many of the students nodding their heads and getting it. And I don't know, I've got tons of notes here, many reflections, but I want to pull on a couple of students. I want to start with actually Angie, and please introduce your friend.
Angie.
Angie.
She's got my last name.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. A dear friend from our same hometown up in Canada. We just met a year ago and found out that we are on, similar sobriety paths. But please introduce your friend and share some reflections with Jiva, because I know this is very relevant for you.
It's so funny. I feel like saying I'm Angie and I'm an alcoholic.
Angie, you can do that.
Hi there. So what a pleasure to meet you. Honor, really. This is my sponsor, actually, Duncan.
Oh, hey.
We decided to check in together, which is wonderful. Thank you for carrying the message in such a beautiful way. I find myself just in awe of where the 12 steps have let me come. Like when you touched on the 11th step, for me, it was that 11th step prayer that really kind of grabbed me. And I was only around step 3, but the St. Francis got me. And I don't know what it was, because my God was an angry God, right, at that time. And I always pray, like, for me, God is in nature, you know, God is here. God is always outside me in some kind of sense, but it was soothing. It was beautiful. And the more, what's the expression, you know, where the focus goes, the energy flows. And I feel so much peace when I'm in meditation and I'm connecting. And the power of a group conscience, you know, it just changed my life immediately. You know, the sadder the story, the better at the beginning, because that's the only way I could identify, you know, but then to hear people laughing and joyful and happy through the process. But feeling like I needed more on a spiritual level. And, you know, I just think it's incredible how our journeys, like what Hanna said it one day, and it'll forever stay with me. Whatever we're seeking is seeking us. And something was just not there. In the first retreat with Jack, I just started crying. And he said, "What's this emotion coming up?" And I didn't know. But it was, I could really feel God. I felt like I was on my path in my journey.
Beautiful.
It's just been building from that point on. I love the fact that there's someone out there, yourself, that is now combining recovery with Krishna, because I'm so new. I don't know the questions to ask. All I know is it's a feeling. It's a feeling that just goes through my whole body that this is where I need to be. And I don't consider myself academic. I don't consider myself, you know, studious to do all of those things. But I know when I'm on the right path now. And that was a luxury for me my whole life, to understand the right thing to do, or you know, what was truly right for me. I couldn't, you know. So I'm just in awe of your honesty, of breaking it down. And what really stands out to me is, you know, finding this Krishna consciousness and understanding what that is. And, you know, is this my path? And all of a sudden things change. I read a book from George and Sarah, and I meet Jack, and all of a sudden my house, you know, my tenant moves out, and I decide to sell my house, and I'm going to India. Like, all these beautiful things are coming because I'm combining my recovery with bhakti. And I just feel very, very passionate that I was like, why, like, AA's here, and we're not really supposed to use their name in a public forum, but, you know, I have my 12-step here.
Who told you that?
It's traditions, actually. I know. But now I can go from, you know, my 12-step recovery and bhakti over here. And when you said putting them together like this, and I just love the visual of doing this together. You know, thank you. Thank you for doing that, for being somebody that's leading and understanding that. I've said in so many conversations, you know, I just feel like bhakti's so parallel with my program and my recovery journey.
Because it is.
Yeah, from every step, I could just put in Krishna if I wanted to. And here you are. And I would love to connect with you in the future. And I'm
absolutely.
We do that.
You know, we have Bhakti Recovery Group meetings. We have over 18 a week. I also have a podcast. I forgot to put that. I have a podcast, guys. I'm going to plug my podcast here. I've got a podcast. It's called Bhakti Recovery Podcast, just so that you know.
Yeah. And I just, I think it's a beautiful message, you know, whether you're dealing with addiction, you're dealing with something. I've always felt my heart, like the 12 steps are kind of like they should be taught in school. You know, you got a problem.
Yeah. There it is.
Walk yourself through here and see where you are at the end, you know, like you'll be in a much better place. And if anything, you'll just have acceptance, you know. It's such a beautiful, beautiful spiritual process. And thank you for doing what you're doing. Like, yeah, that's God's work. It's Krishna's work. Yeah.
It's so beautiful. I just so Jiva, definitely we're going to share links to Bhakti Recovery Group podcast, to your website, every way, Instagram. Please stay in touch with Jiva. Was it Duncan with you there?
Yes, it's Duncan. Yes. Hi,
Would
Jack.
you? It's so great to meet you. I could just see your smile.
I'm 26 years sober. also,
Yes.
recall. It's wonderful to be here. I've actually watched replays of many of the other speakers already. I've also signed up to watch this. I love though the way Jiva you talked about compartmentalizing parts of our lives. I did that when I was out practicing. When I was drinking, I had my bar friends over here, my work people here, my family was here. Everybody was compartmentalized. So that habit coming into AA was the same. My 12 steps were here. My higher power and practices were over here. I love how you
Friends over here.
bring them together, you into every step. You know, we make that commitment in step 3, but you brought Krishna into step 4, you bring Krishna into 5 and 6, 7,
she made
all
the
the way
decision,
through.
yeah.
You've made that decision and you continued it. I think sometimes in Bill's writing, he forgets to bring the higher power along into the following steps, where really that's where the power is. That's the power we don't have, like you said, and that's what we lack as humans in this human form. We don't have that power that Krishna or God or whatever the God of your understanding is. And it's beautiful to bring that into your entire life, into your entire program. And that's all you need. It's beautiful. I
Thank you.
love what you said.
Thank
I love
you.
your
Thank you
work.
so much, Duncan. Thank you. And thank you, Angie. You guys are welcome to come to any meeting. We don't do the traditions because of the Krishna part. So we're not a
Yeah, yeah.
traditional AA meeting. But I have to say, I got permission from the GSO
Yeah.
to get to use these steps. So it's approved. My
Nice.
steps are approved.
Nice,
I
nice.
love that.
That's beautiful.
So if you're always welcome to come. I'm going to be doing retreats. I'll be doing a retreat in upstate New York in the fall as well. So I'll let you know.
Cool.
And in
Amazing.
India, I got new news, guys. I
Yeah.
got new news, Jackie.
Nice. Amazing. So we're going to share all the links. Stay connected with Jiva. Get on the podcast, listen to the podcast, get in her proximity, her association whenever you can. Thank you, Angie and Duncan, for sharing your love, beautiful words. Let's send
Thank you.
our gratitude, love, high vibes to Muskoka, Ontario, Canada.
Do
Love
that.
There's-
Wait,
There's
I
like
want that too.
there's a little button I figured out. Let's see. There you go. Nice. Other questions? I'm just seeing there were a couple others who have been in recovery that are not on video now. They're not here, so I won't call on them. But if there's any reflections, engagement, questions, we would love to hear. Let me see. Is that Sarah getting ready to raise her hand? Is that what I see? Or are you? Let's check with Hanna. I want to get Hanna on the line here. I know you're probably jet lagged. You just arrived to Norway. The two of you could actually have a conversation in German right now, but that wouldn't work for the rest of us. So we'll keep it in English. You're not, thankfully, you're not an alcoholic and you haven't gone down that path. But I'm curious what you hear in this.
Well, I love that you opened it up so that it would include any kind of bad behavior so that it is relatable, because I guess we all have traits that we're not proud of or that create complications in our lives. And I love what I'm learning here is that the powerlessness versus helplessness and relying on our idea of God, whatever that is, that we can actually, to me, it sounds like a very tangible and doable, practical approach. And I wonder, it sounds like your journey, Jiva, has been long and it's got all the different steps, like turning points. What is it like now being you, compared to early days? Like with practice, how has your connection with God evolved? What have you learned about yourself?
Wow, that's a very deep, beautiful question, Anna. Thank you. You know, I think through all of this, I've come to a to a place deeply of acceptance. And I think that's probably the key for my happiness. It says so also in the AA program. I learned that. But if I cannot accept what is at any moment of any given day, I will be constantly in dismay. Accepting doesn't mean resigning, just like powerlessness doesn't mean helplessness. It means to accept it for what it is. I have changed so drastically that, and it's been so slow. It's like you said, there's so many points in my life. I would say I was like a maniac, manic, crazy person, shooting up heroin from puddles on the street, and slowly becoming God-centered, willing to do service, willing to take responsibility, willing to see my part in things. And I'm in a much quieter place today, much more serene. The serenity prayer, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And when I have the wisdom to know the difference, I can let it go. So, yeah.
I love it. It sounds like acceptance is almost like an entrance point.
Yes, it is for this, for the 2.0. I think I really, I actually I'm beginning to like who I am. I used to hate who I was. I used to have so much self-loathing, so much shame. And through working a program and through all of those, and through understanding that God, Krishna, loves me unconditionally, and not just intellectually, but actually seeing the mercy in my life every day. I should be dead. I should not have what I have. I've got a beautiful home. I travel the world. I do service as my full-time job. And I get to give what I got. And I got so much. And the day that I complain about what I don't have, those are the days where I need to work my program double, because I know for sure that all the mercy I got, I don't even see 90% of it. I don't even see 90% of it. I don't know how many times I've walked into a street. I should have been hit by a car, but I didn't. How many times have I overdosed and didn't fully die? I didn't. So I think that, with also a lot of gratitude, having that, and going through a lot of emotions, going through a lot of things, the bodily, all of that body, mind, material body, like going through all those miseries and going through all of that stuff and getting through it on the other side by applying the steps, and sometimes not applying the steps, by just gritting my teeth. I've cried, I've laughed, I've done all of it. And at the end, here I am, here's the end product, and I'm still evolving. I'm still evolving. Like I'm not even close.
But that's so beautiful how you describe it. And I think I think all of us, we're a little bit tough nuts like that to actually accept God's love. I don't know what is it in us that is so complicated around that, but it sounds really liberating what you're describing.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Hanna, for the question. Jiva, beautiful response. We're sending our love over to Oslo, Norway.
Thank you.
Love it. We're at time, but I want to, just because we have a hand here, I'd love to briefly bring on Swati, because I know you've been here for many sessions and very engaged, and now I love having a visual and being able to bring you on. Where are you calling in from, Swati?
Actually, I'm from Mumbai, but currently I'm staying in Hyderabad. Like, I'm from India, actually.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, yeah, I love your smile and your energy and radiance. We're at time, but I wanted to give you space. What would you love to share or ask of Jiva?
Oh, actually, your class was wonderful, and I actually love it. Like, you actually gave me so much energy because, like, lately I've been feeling like I am just like doing things, but like I'm just doing it. Like, there's no feeling involved, no emotion involved in it. And so, like, my question is like, and there was so many points you said I could resonate with, and I was like, oh my God, like, this is the actually have been feeling, and like, she's stating that. So, like, my question was like, how can we truly understand our feelings and like get to know ourselves? Like, there's like so many thoughts always running. Like, I'm like college student right now, so like, when I go out, so like my friends like, do you want to come here? And there's like always the feeling of like missing out on the stuff. So like, how do we actually know ourselves, and like how we actually like if this is right for us? And even when like it's come to career, like I'm like doubtful, like is it actually like what I really want to do? And like it's so like complicated, like there's so many thoughts. So like, please tell me, what should I do? Thank you.
Beautiful. Oh, such enthusiasm and energy. I'm so excited that you're in college and that you've discovered this. You've discovered that, the spiritual path. You're discovering these tools with Jiva sharing. Just in a moment, Jiva, what might you offer Swati?
Swati, actually, I would offer you to come to some meetings. I think if you resonate with what I'm saying, we have a great sangha of people who are Bhakti yogis working on 12 steps. And believe me, I'm the minority of the drug users there. Most of the people have codependent stuff or ACA issues, which is adult child of dysfunctional families, alcoholics and dysfunctional families, and either or. So I would definitely love to have you at a meeting and see how you resonate with it, because it's, the thing is the vast world of the Vedas is sometimes so far from us, and the things that we've learned, it's so far from us, because it's just like, okay, yeah, I'm going to do my puja, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and yeah, I'll pay my respects to, I don't mean to disrespect that, but this is what happens inside of us. So for me, the 12 steps pulls it into a very tangible way, and it's a very, very tangible thing to do. All of those 12 steps, and it makes me look, it's like I ride the 12-step bus through the world of bhakti. That's how I do it, because it's a very easy thing to do, and I'm safe, and then I can go about learning all of the things that I've learned in the Gita, all the things that I've learned in the Bhagavatam, all the things I learned in the Krishna book, and I can do all of that from a very safe space that doesn't let me think like, well, I don't understand. What is this little boy in the flute and all the cows? What does he have to do with me? Like, what is this? But having that strong connection with God from our hearts and understanding what that is and being able to apply it immediately without having to understand all of that stuff is a gift.
I love it. Beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you, Swati from Mumbai, currently Hyderabad, representing the great country of India. Let's send all our love and appreciation to Swati and prayers for your studies. Jiva, thank you so much for taking the time.
Jack, thank you for having me. I really appreciate you. Don't we all appreciate Jack so much for hosting all of this stuff? Unreal. You're the dude. You're the man. You're the guy.
It's only the speakers. If it was just me in a Zoom room by myself, this would be nothing. It is you, Jiva. It is the speakers that come in. But thank you for the kind words. Again, we'll share the links to all of the ways to stay connected with Jiva. We have another session in an hour. Nice high vibe topic of death. Please join. It will be amazing, just like today. But friends, thank you so much for being here, and can't wait to see you again very soon.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you all.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Love and
Hare
blessings.
Krishna. Thank you.
Haribol. Hare Krishna, Prabhupada.